Hello, welcome to my channel. This is my first actual video that I've done that I plan on being a bit longer. I hope to make this sooner, but I just now got around to recording it. Today I'm going to be talking about some scrapped OC concepts and storyline ideas that I was originally going to make, but then I never did because I ran into difficulties and life happened and I just never got the chance to fully animate and draw everything. I've been thinking about giving this story a reboot. I've posted some of the finished animations on my channel. I'll link those. They're not really that long. They're maybe 15-20 seconds, and I have a few more that I need to finish up and post. It was originally, humble beginnings, it was originally supposed to start out as a horror ARG, because at the time I was really into those, and it was going to be like a weirdcore, dreamcore type of thing. And then I learned quickly that it was hard to create such a project on a large scale, and I'd never done something like this before. The idea first came to me because I really liked analog horror and weirdcore and dreamcore, and I really wanted to make something based off of that. I had mostly set characters. I had Allison, Angel, Fauna, Oswald. I had a few set places and settings. So let's get into some of the deeper storyline aspects and some of the characters that I created, because I really, really want to still show off this universe, because it did take me a lot of time and a lot of OC creating, and I still would like to show it and explain some of the lore, because I have posted some things like small snippets on my Instagram of pictures and with small little captions, but I really just wanted to bring some more light to that. So let's get into it. So I think the world in the end kind of turned into some kind of purgatory-like place, because I had written it out that mainly the way people ended up there was after death. They ended up back in that state with very little memory of their lives, and so I think that kind of sounded like purgatory to me, somewhere between heaven and hell. Most of the characters came from Earth. It was meant to be centered around Earth in some way, and most of them have died in different time frames, and it is reflected in their clothes, stories, the way they talk, and what kind of mental ailments they ended up with in coming. Because the way it works is when you die, you have a chance of waking up in that purgatory place, and usually the place most people, what I guess I say this with air quotes, spawn in or wake up or whatever, is in a mental ward, where this is kind of like supposed to be a new thing, but it was really underdeveloped. Like the eye beings took over or whatever. It's a really some parts of it are really underdeveloped. And yeah, a lot of the characters died in different time frames, but they all ended up together, and the asylum or ward keeps them there and pretty much runs, I don't know, I guess experiments. I never really got that far. There were 4 main characters. There was Angel, Allison, Fauna, and Oswald, and I guess the nurses, if you counted them as main characters. The first character I wanted to touch on is Allison, and this will be a theme that you'll probably see with all of my characters, but all of them are based or come from a lot of different time periods, because I personally like learning the kind of history behind certain events, and Allison in particular is definitely one of my favorites. Allison, her death was caused by scarlet fever, which was a disease that plagued many in the 1800s. Allison, who was born in 1820 and died in 1828. Scarlet fever was a very big pandemic for those times, and there were little known cures or things that could save people from it. It is pretty much just a big rash that covers the skin, and hence scarlet fever. It was scarlet or red, which is why Allison is seen wearing many dresses that usually come up to her neck, and wears long sleeves to cover the rash that remained with her even in her passing. She woke up in the asylum with little memory of herself, and pretty much now suffers from short-term memory loss, forced to write all of her memories in a journal, which
is a tool that one of my other characters, Angel, uses later on to manipulate her by writing different things in the diary and changing things, which makes Allison question her entire reality. The next character I wanted to talk about is Fauna. She is a deer, and she is also probably one of my favorites. She was a Red Cross nurse at 25 years old and served in World War I as a nurse until her death in 1918. She has seen many young men injured and bloodied, and she could do very little to help them at the time, and even now in this new reality in Purgatory, they still haunt her nightmares, their screams, their agony, everything. Due to this, Fauna struggles with sleep paralysis, and she can't really see blood anymore, or she'll get flashbacks, which is strange because you'd think she'd be jaded to it, but it's quite the opposite. Fauna spends most of her time meditating and trying to calm her mind. She gets really startled with loud noises, gore, or talk of any kind of war. I had it later on that her and Allison ran away to the church, and Fauna in particular became a nun, although despite this, she is plagued by the sense of a deal that she had seemingly made with the devil during her time alive. This plagues her mind and ultimately becomes her downfall, but I never really got that far. I just liked it as a concept for her. Angel, someone who comes from a very interesting and more relative time period, is a rabbit, and a very anxious one at that, who died due to becoming a ceiling decoration, which I'm not allowed to say much more, but I'm sure you get the picture. He was meant to be a very anxious creature, and to defy social norms, I mean, given his punk style, he was already defying social norms in the time he was born, which was the 60s. And even now, he bears sharp teeth, which in this world, if a prey animal bears sharp teeth, it means that they are very dangerous and possibly tainted, which hence gives Angel a craving for blood and meat, which turns him in this world considered cannibalistic. Angel is kind of a manipulator. I had it planned that he came from a family as the oldest, and he came from a family with many siblings, him being the oldest, and he struggled to put food on the table and help his parents in this time, which now in this life has made him very greedy and possessive over younger people, i.e. Allison, who he manipulates. The last of this bunch was Oswald. He was supposed to be a sheep who had died during the Great Industrial Revolution because at the time machinery was very, very dangerous and often kids were sent to work. I had it planned that Oswald died during this time, but I never really got that far into developing him before I ultimately stopped working on the series as a whole. But he was kind of meant to be schizophrenic and very jumpy and kind of like a conspiracy theorist in the world. Angel didn't really like him. Fauna liked him because Oswald gave her information, although Oswald didn't really like him, and Oswald had a particular liking to Allison, but Angel would constantly drive a stake between them, and he never got to communicate much with Allison. Oswald was very aggressive in this life, and he is often detained and has even been threatened to being sent away, but the story never gets that much into it. There are 3 other characters I wanted to talk about, and one of them being the eye nurse that we see in the very first video. She is kind of like the conductor behind it. So basically the whole lore behind that is there were these eye beings that came into existence and defied the gods and pretty much took over, and that present time is what we're seeing now. And she pretty much runs the entire ward and is very manipulative, often using drugs to kind of persuade the others into her bidding and keeping them there, although soon a catastrophic event happens and the ward gets destroyed. Speaking of those god figures, I had 2 deities. I had one of dreams and one of time, and really they just go about their daily lives. And that really sums up all of the main characters that I was able to develop. There were going to be a few more later on. Like, there was supposed to be this 3-headed sheep lady who was supposed to be the head of the church, and I had really cool ideas for her, but I just never got that far. I may or may not do some sketches of some of these characters to show. But that was mostly the entire plot behind it, and there was supposed to be some other things where, like, their reality was shattering and all of that. But yeah, that is mainly Project Dawn in a nutshell. Thank you for watching. If people like this, I don't know how many people are going to see this video, but if people like it, I may give this a reboot, but actively I am working on another project, but I think I'm going to continue to post artwork of these characters at least, because I still am really attached to them. Yeah, so see you guys around.